It was Sunday, November 3rd, 1901, when the Chicago Inter-Ocean ran a headline that must have jolted readers across Illinois. Queer antics of a ghost that annoys Lemont people. Lemont, a quiet town just southwest of Chicago, had seen its share of trouble during the construction of the drainage canal and the stormy reign of Mayor McCarthy. But nothing compared to what people were whispering about now. They said Lemont had a ghost. Not just any ghost, but one that left messages, notes, slips of paper with strange handwriting that seemed to fall out of the air. At the center of the story was the Willman family, respected German farmers who lived about 2 miles outside town. Good, church-going people. Hard workers. The last family you'd expect to be accused of trickery. But then, about 3 weeks before the article was published, something uncanny began to happen in their farmhouse. Slips of paper, sometimes fluttering down slowly, sometimes dropping like stones, appeared in the middle of rooms. No one saw them come from anywhere. They just appeared, and they were written on, sometimes in English, sometimes in German, sometimes a mix of both. Words no one could account for, written in a hand nobody in the community recognized. The writings themselves, they were moral, religious. One note urged,
"Pray to God more, be honest."
Another warned, "You must obey the commandments of God." And yet another scolded, "Cease your quarreling. Be at peace." The ghost, if ghost it was, had a penchant for preaching. Father Worth, the priest at St. Patrick's in Lemont, was one of the first to be called, and he saw it himself. Standing in the Willman farmhouse, a slip of paper appeared out of thin air and dropped to the floor. He picked it up. It bore words no one could explain. He examined others. He tested the family. And when he was asked if this was trickery, he shook his head. Absolutely not. No one could have staged what he saw. Soon the secret was out. Neighbors came to investigate, skeptical, until the ghost followed the family into their homes, and papers dropped there too. Farmers, townsfolk, men of reputation, all witnessed slips of paper drifting down from nowhere, each scrawled with stern, moral commands. The messages kept coming. Go to confession, receive the Holy Sacrament. Cease your dancing, God is displeased. Be more obedient to your parents. Always pious, always scolding, and always unexplainable. By now the town was in a frenzy. People crowded into the Willman farmhouse, hoping to see the phenomenon for themselves. Chicagoans even drove out to catch a glimpse. And whether they left convinced or skeptical, every single one of them admitted the same thing. The papers were real. No wires. No trick. Just slips of paper falling out of the air. The Inter-Ocean laid it bare. Some said it was witchcraft. Others, Satan himself. A few suggested psychic force, a strange power flowing unconsciously through one of the Willman children. But then the notes appeared when the children weren't even present. The priest called it a mystery allowed by Providence, a kind of supernatural warning. And in the meantime, Lemont couldn't stop talking. At the butcher shop, the saloon, the grocery store, even in church, everyone swapped the latest rumors of the Lemont ghost. Every stranger who visited the farmhouse was grilled when they returned. What did they see? Did the papers fall? What did the ghost write this time? The Inter-Ocean summed it up on that November day in 1901. Whether trick, spirit, or unknown natural force, nobody could explain the ghost of Lemont. But the fact remained. Slips of paper with stern, moral messages were appearing in midair and falling into the laps of ordinary people. And until the mystery was solved, the Lemont ghost would be the talk of that little Illinois town.
truth is out there, and it begins with you. Welcome to the Cosmic Fold, where we talk high strangeness. Call us at 928-288-2942. That's 928-288-2942. Or join us by video. If you're at a computer, just look for the link in the chat. Buckle up, sit around our virtual campfire, and let's get started.
Watseka, Illinois was a typical prairie town in the 1870s. Families worked the cornfields, railroads brought the world closer, and social life was found in one-room churches or schoolhouses. But in a modest home lived 13-year-old Lurency Venom. Neighbors described her as pale, quiet, and often ill. Then, one July afternoon, Lurency collapsed while sewing. Her body went rigid for 8 hours. When she finally stirred, her voice and mannerisms were no longer her own. Doctors were baffled. She spoke in strange tones, claimed to see spirits, and sometimes didn't recognize her own parents. One evening, while being examined by a physician named Dr. E.W. Stevens, she suddenly announced she was no longer Lurency Venom at all, but the spirit of Mary Roff, a girl who had died 12 years earlier in the very same town. The Roff family lived just across town. Their daughter Mary had been known for violent seizures, much like Lurency's, before her death in 1865. And now here was Lurency, insisting that Mary had returned through her. Lurency, or Mary, begged to be taken to the Roff home. At first her parents resisted, but then came the shock. When she saw the Roffs, she recognized them instantly, calling them by name, describing details of Mary's childhood, things Lurency could never have known. The Roffs embraced her as their daughter. For 3 months, Lurency lived in the Roff household, speaking as Mary, playing the piano, and comforting Mary's grieving mother. Witnesses swore it was real. Some even signed affidavits. And then, as suddenly as it began, it ended. On May 21, 1878, Mary announced she was leaving for heaven. Lurency slumped back, woke as herself again, and claimed to remember nothing of the possession. The case became national news. It became America's first documented case of spirit possession. Dr. Stevens published a book in 1879 called The Watseka Wonder, insisting it was proof of the spirit world. Spiritualists hailed it as a miracle, but not everyone was convinced. Decades later, newspapers revisited the story. Some treated it with amusement, joking about long-winded wraiths and Mary Roff catching a ride from Germany by air. Others in the 1970s, swept up by the exorcist craze, retold it as America's own real-life possession. And in Watseka itself, the story never truly died. The Pantograph in 1975 noted that the town library kept the book locked away because it was read so often. And by 1999, the old Roff house was still whispered about as haunted, its reputation so strong that children growing up in Watseka swore it was cursed. William James, the father of psychology in America, once said, "The Watseka Wonder might point to something beyond science, and yet modern historians often dismiss it as suggestion, spiritualist theater, or even a desperate hoax. But in Watseka, Illinois, if you ask around, you'll still find people who swear something happened in 1877 that no doctor, preacher, or skeptic could ever fully explain. The Watseka Wonder remains one of the strangest cases in American history and is documented in more than a century of historical newspaper accounts. And tonight, it opens our journey on the Cosmic Fold, Paranormal Highway, Illinois edition.
That's cool.
That is weird.
That is cool. The second one, I believe, could be totally just flat ass real. That was cool.
That second one is very well documented and quite famous. The first one, there was like a whole newspaper. It was a whole sheet in this Inter-Ocean Times or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I hadn't heard of that one before, but it's like, even if it was a treat, probably a trick. I mean, I don't know. This minister, you'll see in the slideshow, I have a picture of him. He doesn't look like the kind that would be making crap up. And I mean, ghosts are supposed to, I don't know, be funny or say like weird crap, not like go to church. They're calling it a demon.
A preaching ghost. Now, I've heard a lot of stories. But not that one.
Yeah, I saw something on one of those like haunted documentaries where these people had bought a house that had been owned by a preacher who did not approve of their lifestyle. And he was doing all kinds of stuff, and they got a psychic over, and then they found it really was a preacher, and he was saying real hateful stuff out of the Bible.
I can't imagine that ever happening.
So but that was a weird story, and so in our slideshows, I'll show you pictures from the newspaper article. But that Watseka thing, that one, I have seen a few documentaries on that, and people really swear by it that it's true.
Wow. That's something else, man. That is something else.
Yeah.
I mean, and you think about both parents, it's like, both sets of parents, the ones of the dead girl and the ones of the living girl. I mean, that whole thing is just so strange. Wow. That you would let your kid live with somebody else's family for whatever as their kid.
Even if it was a day, that's weird.
Yeah.
But, hey, to each their own, right?
That's right.
We all grieve differently.
Yeah, that's true. I found myself wondering about the sheer strength of a spirit to be able to move through 12 years, occupy another human body for 3 months, and then say, I'm off to heaven. Ciao.
Gotta go. Bye.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that has to be a spirit with incredible power or intention, or maybe all. I don't know. I wish we did know more about this.
And then on a more like rational note, I'll say, epileptic seizures can, I mean, I know I've had them myself, can create, sort of like an altered state of consciousness. And we had a show a while ago about brain injuries and what that can do. And some people, like on the other side of a brain injury, all of a sudden they turn into, like they could never play a piano before in their life. Yeah. And all of a sudden they are just like experts, really, really good at it.
Yeah, I've heard stories about like that too, yeah.
So a part of me wonders if she was having a seizure, was it sort of like that in a way? And maybe she had read about this girl and, seen newspaper accounts about it, and then suddenly because what they were saying in these accounts was that she never knew how to play piano. And yet she goes to this house and she's playing. And so, a part of me wonders, well, maybe it was some kind of epileptic thing. And they didn't really understand it that well at the time. And maybe she self-healed and then woke, which is a bad thing, I guess, now.
Yeah.
That saying, technology that's advanced enough will appear like magic.
Exactly.
I mean, can you imagine pulling someone out of like the 1700s or the 1600s and just dropping them in the middle of a major city, giving them a cell phone?
Oh, I know.
I mean, they just, what is this sorcery? I mean, it just, would freak them out.
Or like the cargo god, the cargo religion thing where.
John's, I can't remember I remember reading that story and I'm like, wow, okay, but like you can see, stuff like that happening in civilizations or societies that have been sequestered from civilization, basically. I
was reading somewhere where they were talking about where some of these evangelists now, they'll go out to these remote areas that are sequestered, and they'll bring things like TVs and stuff like that they had never seen before. So immediately they think, wow, these people have magical powers. I better believe in their God and join this religion.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
so, but a part of me, because that story was so well documented, including the doctor writing about it, I think it's true. But there's a part of me that wonders I mean, it could be a spirit, or was it an epileptic episode that she had? I don't know.
I don't know. It's definitely creepy though. Well, not creepy. Well, yeah, I guess it is creepy.
It
It's
is
very
creepy.
interesting.
If I was there, I'd call it creepy. But being able to watch from afar,
Emphasis on the afar.
yes.
There you go. Well, we've got a collection. This is part 2 of our Illinois Paranormal Highway. Last time we covered UFOs, which were quite amazing out there, and some of their cool cryptids. So tonight it's just hauntings and stuff of that nature, and there's
Yeah.
quite a few. So I
And
thought,
speaking of haunted places, you know what show I can't wait for?
what?
Louisiana.
Oh, he's waiting for the Paranormal Highway, Louisiana.
Louisiana. Yes.
Oh, well, we're getting close. We're in the eyes, or is it a, or are you talking about a real show or this one?
No, this one.
Oh, I
This
guess
show.
this one's real
Yeah.
too.
This is a real show.
This from our creator.
What if I wore this to Walmart if anybody would really notice?
Nobody would give a rat's ass. I'm sorry to tell you.
I don't know. That looks almost like Bove's headset.
Oh,
Put it
great.
back on.
I got purple ones.
There you go.
Oh my god.
So anyway, for our people that might be joining on this holiday weekend, text your message. I had the phone connected, but it kept like echoing so loud, and it was like getting close to the deadline. I thought, well,
Oh,
screw it. Nobody calls anyway. I'll use the easy method, but you can join by video, and I've got that link in the chat.
cool.
So, all right. Well, with that, here comes our slideshow.
Ghosts and Premonitions, the Illinois Paranormal Highway, classic haunts, newspaper ghosts, premonitions, and modern legends. Good old Illinois, man. How about an Illinois classic? Resurrection Mary from Justice, Illinois. Of all of Chicago's ghost stories, none is more chilling or more enduring than Resurrection Mary. Since the 1930s, drivers along Archer Avenue have reported a young blonde woman in a flowing white gown, thumbing for a ride home. Some say she died in a car crash after a night of dancing. Others insist she was struck down in the rain walking alone. However, the tale begins, it always ends the same way, with a vanishing passenger who disappears before the car reaches Resurrection Cemetery. Now, witnesses describe her as beautiful, fashionable, and no older than maybe her 20s, appearing first as a lonely partner at a dance hall and then as a ghostly hitchhiker, guiding her driver into the dark. But just as the car pulls up near the cemetery gates, Mary slips away, leaving only silence and the driver's terrified memory. Her legend has spread far beyond Chicago, inspiring songs, movies, and even a ritual at a nearby tavern where a Bloody Mary is poured every Sunday for the ghost who never comes to claim it.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. That one has been in several documentaries. And I think, where some of these stories come up about, ghosts seen hitchhiking or like riding in the car. I think maybe some of them come from this one that is so famous.
Yeah.
So,
and I do have a Bloody Mary story when we get to New York. It's rather fascinating, and it's also widely known.
oh, good.
Yes.
All right. This is the one I was talking about last week. This very, very famous picture.
Oh, Bachelor's Grove Cemetery in Midlothian. Yeah, that's wow. Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, a lonely patch of ground outside of Chicago, has been called one of the most haunted places in America. Its most famous ghost is the Madonna of Bachelor's Grove, a mystery woman in white. In 1991, a ghost research team snapped an infrared photograph that stunned the paranormal world. The picture showed a semi-transparent woman in a Victorian gown seated calmly on a gravestone. her face and figure eerily clear against the shadows. The image matched chilling stories whispered since the 1970s of a woman in white who roams the cemetery, sometimes holding a baby in her arms. The photo spread through the newspapers and television, drawing worldwide attention and cementing Bachelor's Grove as a place where legends walk. For many, that single image became the closest thing to proof that spirits linger among the stones.
I mean, that's pretty crazy.
They got their own website too, bachelorsgrove.com.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, and so, it's since become a pretty famous place to go ghost hunting or whatever. But could you imagine taking an infrared and then that showing up on there?
Yeah.
Nobody has, I mean, that one, and it's so detailed, it almost looks like an old newspaper picture. It's like,
does.
wow.
That's what I thought it was. I thought it was an old newsprint picture. She kind of looks like my mother-in-law.
Huh.
And where is she right about now?
She's living.
But yeah, that one really, and so far the image has not been disproven, at least what I have seen. So it's like, wow, if there's proof that there's stuff out there, that one probably is it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. Another Illinois classic, the St. James at Sag Bridge, a.k.a. Monk's Castle in Lemont. On a lonely hill outside Lemont stands St. James Church at Sag Bridge. It's stone wall surrounded by a cemetery that dates back to the 1800s. The land was once a Native American village and burial ground. Don't we ever learn? And some say that it is why phantom riders have been. I'm serious. It's a Native American. Don't freaking build on it.
Exactly.
I digress. The land was once a Native American village and burial ground, and some say that is why phantom riders have been spotted racing on horseback through the night. In 1897, when 9 Native American skeletons were unearthed nearby, strange happenings followed. Ghostly monks were seen wandering. Glowing coffins appeared in the dark, and some swore the very ground beneath the cemetery seemed to breathe. Though some of the remains were reburied, others were sent to Chicago's Field Museum, and many locals believe the restless spirits still linger. They took the bones? The church's most famous apparition is a woman in white who appears beside a horse and wagon only to vanish into thin air as she gallops past the gates. Built from limestone, a stone said to hold energy, the old church seems to have absorbed every whisper, every ghost, and every story, making Sag Bridge one of Illinois' most haunted places. Ooh, Teresa's watching from Illinois. Hello, Teresa. Welcome aboard.
And Kim was here too, laughing at your joke about it.
There she is.
Stop building over those Native Americans.
Seriously, haven't you seen Poltergeist?
But those pictures come from the church itself website, and so it kind of shows the progression of what it looks like, and it's still there today. You can take tours. So that's that. Let me see. Cool. Where's the next slide?
Cool. Yet another Illinois classic, the McPike Mansion in Alton. Now, Henry Guest McPike was a man of many talents. 2-time mayor of Alton, a political power broker, businessman, and even a horticulturist who cultivated a prized grape variety for winemakers. In 1869, he built a grand Italianate-style estate that still bears his name, set among a grove of fruit trees he dearly loved. McPike lived there until 1910, when a sudden illness took his life inside the house. But locals say death never carried him away. For more than a century, the mansion has been whispered about as his eternal residence. Henry may not be alone. Current owners, Sharon and George Ludke, believe as many as a dozen spirits linger within the crumbling mansion. Visitors report encounters with Henry's mother, Lydia, who insists on being introduced in the entryway, and his first wife, Mary, a gentle presence who especially loves children. Others speak of a trickster spirit, his daughter-in-law, Jenny, tugging hair or brushing ears. Not all are McPikes. Sharon claims a woman named Sarah, a family attendant, still drifts through the halls, along with the laughter of 3 children said to predate the mansion itself. Condemned since 1954, the house has no living residents, yet shadows still appear in photographs, including one in the cellar doorway. that Sharon swears was Henry himself. Wow.
So they, as you can see from, it was a public domain image there.
Yeah.
So they still do the tours, but I don't know if you could go inside for the tours.
Yeah, well, if it was
I'm assuming
condemned,
you
probably
can.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not. It looks like it's got some chicken wire around it and scaffolding
Yeah.
holding up that front edifice there. But what really kind of out of this whole story, the one thing that kind of hits me is the three children that predate the mansion itself, which asks me, leads me to ask, what was in, on, or under that ground before they built on it?
Exactly.
You know?
I know. Don't have a clue, but it's a cool old building, that's for sure. If they can fix that up. Very cool.
It is. Yeah. That was the McPike Mansion. So yeah, that's very cool. Congress Plaza Hotel. Wow, look at that thing. This is obviously Chicago. The Congress Plaza Hotel rises like a red-lit sentinel over Michigan Avenue, its glowing sign a familiar backdrop to Chicago nights. Built in 1893 for the World's Fair, it was once the pride of the city. Ballrooms glittered, presidents visited, and history was made here. But behind its elegance, guides whisper is Chicago's most haunted place. The marble tunnels and grand corridors, once alive with music and politics, now echo with darker stories. The most infamous is Captain Louis Ostheim, a Spanish-American war veteran who, on the eve of his wedding in 1900, put a gun to his head inside the hotel. Guests later claimed his ghost still walks the halls, known today as the Shadow Man of the Congress. Others point to the 12th floor, where the walls narrow and widen strangely, and where visitors feel the unsettling dread of the shining brought to life.
And that, my friend, was the hardest word out of this whole slideshow. Was the captain.
Louis Ostheim. Ostheim. Boy, that's really hard to say without teeth.
And so that the picture there comes from, I think it was the 40s or 50s, some postcard of that hotel. Nowadays, it's only a 3-star, but back in its day, you'll see from the next image, it was like really cool.
Yeah, that's got to be the 40s.
Oh, nice.
Does that not look like the scene from The Shining when they were all? And that's off of the hotel website. So that's what it used to look like inside.
That's awesome. This hotel in 1939, it was there that tragedy struck the Langer family. Depressed and fearful after fleeing the Nazis, Adele Langer took her 2 young sons to the zoo, then returned to the hotel where she hurled both boys from the 12th floor window before leaving herself. Witnesses say the ghost of 6-year-old Carol still runs the hallway. A longtime security guard, once a skeptic, swore he saw the boy grin at him before fading into thin air. Later saw the child again, not just at the hotel, but briefly in his own home. And Carol was not alone. Guests in room 441 report a woman standing over their bed, tugging at covers before vanishing into the bathroom. Others glimpse peg-leg Johnny, a vagrant spirit with a limp, or even a prankster judge who in life used TV remotes to startle guests. Death still flips their channels. Wow. From shadow figures in closets to women in Victorian gowns in the gold room, the Congress Hotel has earned its title as Chicago's most haunted landmark. Place where elegance and terror walk hand in hand. You can read about this on the congressplazahotel.com/history. And it was also on CBS News.
Yeah, it's a big thing in Chicago. So
yeah, man, wow.
And the CBS News story was really long too, and they had all these videos. It's like, wow, they take this one really seriously. It is an Illinois classic for sure.
Yeah.
Teresa, Kim agrees. Yes, it looks like The Shining.
Yes, it does. You're absolutely right. Now, let's talk about the old Joliet prison. Obviously, in Joliet, once housed a very famous person named Joliet Jake from the Blues Brothers. Anyway, the old Joliet prison. That was like my favorite movie in the world.
It was a great flick.
The old Joliet prison looms like a fortress of stone, its towers and walls holding more than just history. From 1888 to 1905 alone, 448 inmates died inside. And over the years, notorious criminals like Babyface Nelson and Richard Speck and even John Wayne Gacy passed through its cells. Richard Speck, wasn't he the co-ed killer? I think he was. With so much suffering behind its iron gates, little wonder that the place is said to echo with strange noises and unexplained shadows. Paranormal groups have flocked there, documenting cold spots, disembodied voices, and eerie movements in the abandoned blocks. The prison has even been featured in documentaries and ghost hunting shows, cementing its reputation as one of Illinois' darkest landmarks. Today, visitors can still walk its halls, but the hauntings aren't limited to ghost tours. Every Halloween season, the prison itself transforms into an attraction, the old Joliet Haunted Prison, with themed rooms like Cell Block 13 and the Ghost Chamber blur the line between stage scares and something much more real. For some, it's a thrilling performance. For others, it's a reminder that the spirits of Joliet may never have left.
I guess there was a lot of abuse that went on there too. Hey, Keith, he's got a good question. The White House is old. Is it haunted? I have heard a lot of stories about
It
it.
is
being
now.
haunted. Yeah,
What did Al just say?
It is
it
now.
is now.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
Great minds think alike.
Actually, there have been some stories about it being haunted and the hauntings like picking up right now. And here is our day. Let me take this off for a second so we can see everybody. Hey, Day. They're still in love after how many years of marriage?
34 years.
Oh, yeah, madly. And we're not starting over. Fuck that. I'd rather die. We're trained. We're okay. We have a quiet house, except for the fact that he's deaf.
What?
We're all good. But no, this particular weekend, it's like family love fest. So after the huge emotional drain I've already had, we're saying goodbye to a precious niece who's 18, just graduated, moving to New York next week.
The Bronx.
Oh, wow.
While we were playing with our granddaughter and seeing her son and my sister, and then our daughter from California showed up. And then tomorrow we finally will have all three of our children with us in the same room.
And the grandchildren. First time in 9 months. Yep. So,
well, actually, first time ever, because that one's really fresh.
Yeah.
He's new on the scene.
He's new.
He got here 2 weeks ago. He's very new on the scene. Little camera shot.
Good for you guys. Well, it's so good to see you. And Keith, definitely we will hit on that when we get to Maryland, but definitely there's something to it. So,
oh, good.
All right.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm still texting. My other sister is hospice and not well, so.
Oh, geez, I'm sorry.
So sorry.
So I'm still talking to sisters.
No wonder you've had an emotional. That's intense from births to
the entire month of August, by the way.
Oh, geez.
I saw my sister to say goodbye. I came home, a baby was born. I had to go watch my son's dogs in the middle of it. It's just been this little emotional roller coaster. I'm like, I'm okay.
Oh, man, that's intense, though. Jeez.
It's
wow.
Everything everywhere all at once, right?
Well, that was nice of her to stop in and say hi. So
yes, it was. From the newspapers, here's the Wilman farmhouse mentioned in our opening video about these strange papers manifesting with ominous godly commands. That was weird. A ghost preacher.
And there were quite a few pictures that went with this great big article, but I only got the ones that weren't so. You know how those newspapers, that pictures get so black after a while, you can't really see what's in the. So this one I was able to salvage a little bit.
This is the priest that investigated the Lemont ghost in the opening video. Yeah, it's definitely a priest.
Yep, so it's a real story from a real thing.
And this is the old Roth house in Watseka. or Watseka rather, also mentioned in our opening videos. Wow,
And
that's a nice little porch there, that wraparound. I like that.
yep,
I
a
do
lot
too.
of those Illinois houses look like that. I mean, some of the houses, even the little towns, are just beautiful houses in Illinois.
Yeah.
And but anyway, that picture was from I think 1999, so the house is still pretty well preserved.
Yeah.
In the article, she was saying, the people that live there now, it's like totally fine. There's no weirdness going on in there. But anyway, I thought I'd show you guys the pictures from.
Pretty cool. The Wood River Ghost. This is a newspaper story.
Wait, go back.
Wait, what?
So you shared something special. Did he show you the photos of the newest?
No, I will.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Not on the show here, but Facebook, yes.
You need those.
I'll send them along to her. The Wood River Ghost from Alton. This is from 1881. In December of 1881, the town of Alton Junction buzzed with fear and fascination. Locals spoke of a towering figure that haunted Milton Cemetery. It was described as a man cloaked in a black mantle with long flowing hair, kind of like mine, standing anywhere from 6 to 9 feet tall. One night, 8 brave citizens gathered the courage to go see it for themselves, and at 10 o'clock, they spotted the apparition, pacing steadily back and forth across Cemetery Hill. For 15 minutes, they stood in silence, watching the ghost march with stern, military air, until terror finally drove them back to town. Others came too, including a railroad worker who swore he thrust his arm through the specter's body, only to feel nothing at all. Shaken pale, he fled, convinced he had touched the supernatural. And old residents claimed it was a restless soul of a man buried there in 1839, though how they knew was really never explained. Whatever the truth, the Wood River Ghost turned Alton Junction into a place both thrilled and trembling, happy to have a sensation, but wary of the shadow that stalked the graveyard.
These stories from the 1800s, and like I mentioned last week, the Illinois ones are not as yellowy journalists, as some of the other ones. And they're more critical of things. But I just thought it was hilarious that guy goes and he's like trying to punch his hand through a ghost.
Really?
It's like drinking parties in Illinois. Just have a beer and punch a ghost.
Let's go punch a ghost. Started an interdimensional war. Another one from the newspapers. Figures in the windowpanes. This is from Rochelle, and it's from 1895, the town of Rochelle. In the summer of 1895, the quiet town of Rochelle was thrown into a frenzy over a brand new house on Bryson, Nebraska streets. In the gable windows of Robert Dick's home, 2 full-length human features suddenly appeared, visible every evening, most clearly around 6 o'clock. Even after the window sashes were changed, the ghostly image remained, standing tall and silent as if watching the neighborhood. To catch the best view, people lined up in the street nearly a block away. For nights on end, hundreds gathered to witness the mysterious figures. Theories spread quickly. Some said it was an elaborate hoax meant to drive Dix, a saloon keeper, out of the well-to-do neighborhood. Others whispered that no trickster could fool so many people night after night. Dix himself claimed no fear, insisting that if someone was behind it, they were skilled enough to escape detection. Whether supernatural or clever scheme, the phantom figures in the glass became the talk of Rochelle, a spectacle that left townsfolk both curious and uneasy. And this is from the Chicago Chronicle back in 1895. Yeah, they didn't have hologram technology back then.
Right.
I still think it was my take on that was, it's some kind of hoax because they didn't want the bar in their up and coming, ritzy neighborhood.
Sure, yeah.
Kind of what I think. Because you could do, there are some really funny ones in here, I think. Yes, yeah. This one I thought was hilarious.
Oh my gosh. Another one from the newspapers. Boy hugs a spirit form. This is, again, in Watseka, 1896. In 1896, the town of Watseka, already famous for the Watseka Wonder, hosted a seance at the home of jeweler Henry Upsall. The event promised spirit voices, ghostly music, and finally, the grand finale, a full materialization. In the dim light, a medium draped in black stepped into a cabinet, and soon Pale figures in white robes began to drift about the room. The crowd watched in awe, but young John Upsall, the jeweler's son, was not convinced. He says, "I'm going to catch the next spirit." When the next apparition emerged, John lunged forward and hugged it tight. To everyone's shock, the spirit felt very much alive. John scratched its face, exposing an ordinary man in a costume. Chaos broke loose as the black-robed medium was dragged out, scuffled with, and the entire seance fell apart. By morning, the traveling mediums had boarded the next train out of town, leaving behind only laughter and a slightly embarrassed town.
How fucked up.
Wow.
Well, there was so much of that going on back then in the 1800s. They're all having seances, they're all fake, and and these psychics running around as they still do on those 1-800 lines, just get real rich from it, and
That's too much.
I don't know if they still have those dial a psychic lines, but
I don't know. I don't know.
I have no idea. I haven't seen any.
Dial a psychic. Ooh, the premonition of death in Belleville. This is 1903, 20th century. On Thanksgiving Day in 1903, Assistant State's Attorney August Barthel was driving home to Belleville when a sudden vision struck him with chilling certainty. He felt beyond doubt that his elderly aunt was dying at that very moment, and even foresaw that her funeral would be held on Sunday afternoon. Shaken, he whipped his horse to hurry home. Told his family what he'd seen. At first, they laughed it off, but his conviction was so strong that they began to wonder if it might be right. 2 days later, a messenger arrived at the courthouse with astonishing news. Mrs. Barbara Berthel had indeed passed away on Thanksgiving Day at the exact time August claimed his vision occurred. Her funeral was set for Sunday, just as he had predicted. The uncanny coincidence left neighbors and relatives stunned. Many convinced that this was not chance at all, but a true case of telepathy. A glimpse beyond the veil of ordinary life. And this is a state's attorney. So,
yep. And I think that's why, because I think so many of us get those premonitions or whatever. I mean, but the fact that it was the state attorney or assistant attorney, that's why it made the news. It's like, okay, so somebody, with a high degree is reporting the same kind of stuff. So,
right? I know. Wow. Oh,
this is a real picture. This has got to be the most unkempt, one of the worst cemeteries I think I've seen.
That's a cemetery?
That's what's left of it. They haven't really maintained it.
Oh, my God.
It doesn't look like they've maintained it in decades. This is a story from the newspapers about ghostly lights of Vermont Cemetery in Oswego. Or Oswego, I can't remember what that is. At Oswego, Illinois, I think it's Oswego. Halloween always seemed to carry an extra chill. Local lore told of a fingered Jack Hamilton. Is that Jack Hamilton? There's a P in front of it.
Yeah.
An outlaw buried at the township cemetery who's said to claw his way from the grave. But for the family of John, Peter, and Amelia Lance, the story's hit much closer to home. In the 1880s, while driving past a tiny Vermont cemetery on Normantown Road, their horse suddenly grew nervous. Without warning, a strange light appeared beneath the animal, glowing just under its body, and the horse bolted in terror, nearly overturning their buggy before they brought it under control. The Lances weren't alone. Neighbors soon reported similar encounters, phantom lights flickering among the headstones, ghostly figures drifting in the dark, and even apparitions that resembled deceased relatives. The sightings gave the small cemetery an unsettling reputation, and for years afterwards, families spoke of its haunted ground. What began as one family's eerie brush with the unexplained became a lasting legend in Kendall County. I'd be pissed too and crawl out of my grave if someone wrecked the cemetery. Hey, what?
Some ghost hunters, because that picture was from 2015. So any ghost hunters out there in Illinois, you ought to go out there and see. Because that's what's left of it. But if it's as haunted as they say it was, could be interesting. Go.
Go there at night, pitch a tent, see what happens.
Exactly.
Odds and ends. Chicago's murder castle. Oh, yeah, I know the story very, very well. Yeah, I've I've read extensively on this. It's 1893 World's Fair. During the 1893 World's Fair, visitors poured into the city for wonder and excitement, but some never made it home. It fell into the hands of H.H. Holmes, remembered as one of America's first serial killers. Holmes built what became known as the Murder Castle, a strange and sinister hotel filled with trapdoors, hidden passages, gas chambers, and even a basement crematorium. But in 1891 and 1894, he lured in his victims, confessing later to 27 murders, although only 9 were confirmed. Some claim the real number might have reached into the hundreds. Holmes was finally caught in 1894, not for murder at first, but for insurance fraud. Detectives investigating the disappearance of his associates' children uncovered a trail of killings, and Holmes was convicted and hanged in 1896. The building itself looked ordinary from the street, but inside it was a maze designed for death. Guests checked in, but many never checked out. The chilling story of Holmes and his castle became infamous around the world, and today it remains one of Illinois' darkest and most haunting legends. The Murder Castle itself is long gone. A mysterious fire damaged it in 1895, and the remains were finally torn down in 1938. Today, a U.S. post office stands on the site in Chicago's Englewood neighborhood, an ordinary building sitting on ground once known for extraordinary horror. There's a couple of documentaries out on this guy, and it's just fascinating. From an engineering standpoint, being able to create something that looks like that from the outside, just a normal, early century building, but with all these, it reminds me of the story of the Winchester House.
In a way, yeah. Yeah, because with all the weird things that are built in there.
Hallways that go nowhere, and like they said, trapdoors and windows that open into nothing, and it was just very, very weird. But it's a fascinating story, though.
But you have to wonder about somebody like that. Number one, they had to have a lot of money to build a hotel like this, and then to have all these horrible things in there, and obviously done with intent. You just have to wonder what makes somebody think that way, or obviously it was planned out. It's just so awful.
It is. It's very awful.
Yeah. You have to wonder if that post office is kind of haunted too after all that.
Where do my stamps go? I swear I mailed my loan payment. Odds and ends. Burroughs Cave, Southern Illinois, 1982. A man named Russell Burroughs claimed he had stumbled upon a hidden cave near the Embarrass River of Southern Illinois. Inside, it's got to be pronounced differently. You can't just be embarrassed.
It is.
I'm with Deborah.
It's Illinois.
There were wonders beyond imagination: golden statues, mummies, diamonds, weapons, scrolls, even stone tablets etched with strange inscriptions. I wouldn't have told anyone. I'd have backed up a U-Haul. Anyway, according to Burroughs, the cave was a vast tomb holding the treasures of many ancient peoples: Romans, Phoenicians, Hebrews, Egyptians, and more, all somehow gathered in the Illinois countryside. The tale spread quickly, and Burroughs Cave became one of the state's most talked about mysteries. But wait, there's more.
And so this guy, Russell Burroughs, the picture there comes from his book. So he was retired from the Army, and then he had somebody co-author it from the University of Wisconsin. But that whole story kind of jiggled my brain a little bit, as you'll see. And so I started looking, and sure enough, what I found, evidence for the Book of Mormon.
Yeah. But there was one problem. No one else ever saw it. Burroughs never revealed the cave's exact location, claiming he feared looters, and the artifacts he produced have been widely dismissed as forgeries. Archaeologists and historians agree the story is a hoax, yet it refuses to fade away. Thousands of tablets supposedly from the cave have been sold to collectors, and TV shows like America Unearthed have kept the legend alive. And whether fraud or forgotten history, the mystery of Burroughs Cave continues to intrigue those who want to believe Illinois once held a treasure trove of the ancient world. Yeah, they look fake. Don't they look
Yes.
like someone made them with plaster of Paris, bad paint, and a pencil? Anyway, there you have it. From vanishing hitchhikers to premonitions of death, Illinois proves that flat cornfields can grow some very strange stories. Thank you for traveling with us on the Illinois Paranormal Highway. And remember, if you see a ghost hitchhiking one night, maybe just keep on driving. Next stop, Indiana.
Yay!
They had some very colorful stories. I thought this one,
Yes.
I would just add some of the funny newspaper articles and different, they're writing, so everything in Illinois was way more like down to earth and sort of skeptical, but details. And I thought it was kind of interesting out
I
there.
thought it was very cool.
Yeah,
For
one time
me-
go ahead.
For me, the deeper we go, the more I sit in and participate with this particular show and the hauntings and this, that. They're getting not more ridiculous, but they're getting a little more believable and a little more. There's just so much involved in it all. And I'm Keith pointing out the White House. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, where does that come under? Washington or Washington, D.C.?
Maryland,
or
I think she
Maryland?
said.
I would think Maryland, wouldn't it be?
Oh, yeah, I guess, probably. It's right
Or
there.
we could just skip Indiana for a week and do it next week. It would be pretty funny. It's DC. We could just say it's a D we're inserting in there. But yeah, there's quite a few stories about that. And then like,
Oh my
There
god,
he
I
is.
could eat that face.
That's my
Oh
grandson.
my
Sorry,
god.
I had to do that.
Thank you for doing that. It's a baby snack.
Right.
Only
But
in
yeah,
Italian.
yeah,
I
she's
did
saying
wonder about.
Virginia. It could be Virginia too. We might
Yeah.
just have to stick it in next week.
Whatever, that's fine. I'm game.
Yeah.
I'm game for anything.
Keith is probably out in my family room jumping up and down. Did you just say you're going to stick it in next week?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh shit.
And then
Keith,
we'll go.
did you
So
hear?
we're going to take a diversion. We'll do Washington, D.C., and then go back to the eyes after that.
Cool. Right on.
Because there's some pretty crazy stories about the White House and some of those. And then you have all these conspiracy theories, too, about different
Ooh.
buildings that are out there in D.C.
Yeah.
So I'll throw in some conspiracy theories, ghost stories, and Abraham Lincoln and his wife, I think, both talked about ghosts in the White House.
So did Nancy Reagan.
Yeah, I think Nancy Reagan even. Yeah, so I don't know if Jimmy Carter did or not. I know he talked about UFOs.
Yeah.
So
I feel sorry for who's going to be in the White House when Trump's ghost moves in.
Oh my god.
oh my God.
I know it was totally off color, inappropriate, and everything else. Good for you, Bove.
Maybe there'll be a story of the ghost of Chester A. Arthur wandering the China room. I don't know.
You never know. But one time I had forgotten about this driving through Illinois because I've got relatives that live there. Driving through the endless cornfields. It was kind of late one night. I had flown in, got a rental car, and it was really cool. I'm glad I didn't hit it, but this white,
That's a
fully
rent.
albino white deer jumping out of the corn. And it was kind of foggy too. Every time I go there, it's foggy, like right in front of the car, and just bounded off. And so then talking to people, some people had seen that. It was sort of legendary. It was huge. This all white. Looks like Bove's light is flashing. Is the ghost at your house now?
I saw it. No, it was the air conditioner compressor in conjunction with something else.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know what my lighting issues are.
You turn on the clothes dryer and the microwave in my house.
Exactly.
Flips a breaker.
oh gosh. So anyway, that wraps up the Illinois. Any more comments from anyone on this one?
Yeah,
I enjoyed that.
that was a cool show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. It was fun researching this one too. It wasn't quite as much yellow journalism as some of these other ones. The western states were really, some of them were just like, oh my God. But
Yeah.
more Midwest, they have kind of a practical tone to their how they do stuff. So, well, it's good to see both of you Wednesday. Hopefully
Yeah.
we'll have
Yes.
Al with to sit
Yeah.
in. For those of you who watch, our Wednesday shows, Denise, we had to cancel last minute because I got a text from her. It was like 3:30 or something, shortly before I go get everything set up. Oh, I fell and I think I hurt my ankle and I can't walk. And so we had kind of like a group text going on, and Helen's like, call 911. And so she did. And they got her into the hospital, and she had broken. She only fell down a couple of stairs, but it was bad enough to do this. Going into the garage, she was going to pick her kid up, and she broke the left ankle and her left foot. So she's got both of those are fractured. And then the right ankle is a very severe strain. So she's in a wheelchair now and has a boot on, to hold the one in. And she can't take a shower for like 2 weeks. So I guess she's not going to be doing videos for a little bit. And so Al is graciously stepping in for our next topic on Wednesday, which is a 2-parter on AI. And I tell you what, that gets people so triggered. So it'll be a good show.
Hot topic.
Yes. So that one's Wednesday, and then next Saturday's Paranormal Highway, we'll take a detour to DC and see what's going on over there.
Excellent. Yay. Thank
So
you
good
so
suggestion, Keith. And I want to thank
Yes.
everybody who is here in the show and for your comments. And mostly thank you, Bove and Al, for helping out and making
It
this
was
a fun
great.
evening.
It was
All
fun.
right.
All right. Hey, take care.
Take care. Happy Labor Day.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us. We love hearing your stories, so tell your friends so they can join the party. For show notes and our forum of high strangeness, visit cosmicfold.com. Remember, Cosmic Fold airs live on Wednesday and Saturday nights, so be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to know when we're on air. Thanks again and have a great evening.